at 15:18, that's 18 minutes after 3, HSE A. Richardson informed of emergency and respond to tug landing. 15:27, almost 3:30, HSE personnel arrived at tug landing via ambulance and informed HSE personnel. 15:40, Coast Guard informed. Start to heat up now. So it's 3:45. 15:42, HSE personnel SRAM Kisoon reported chances of survival are slim. SRAM Kisoon. Now you see this fellow SRAM Kisoon on the board? The reason this had to take all this time to start is SRAM Kisoon have to either get payoff and disappear. Your Honor, we cannot track down SRAM Kisoon. He have to either get payoff and disappear. And once he's outside of the jurisdiction, even if they know where he is, he can't be summoned. Or, if he refuses to take a payoff and disappear, he might shoot himself with his own gun and hide his gun. Similar to what happened with a soldier down in the army base when some photographs of ministerial family members with high-powered weapons had something to say. This is Trinidad. You could kill yourself and then hide your weapon. So SRAM Kisoon is either in for a payday or his life is in danger. Because he said at 15:48, chances of survival are slim. Now somebody has to depose HSE personnel SRAM Kisoon to ask him how from 14:15, 2:15, to 15:48, 3:45, he decided on what grounds he arrived. Now, I know it's hard to get on the live. I'm seeing you all getting bumped off. I know that we're working hard to keep these conversations out. Satish is going to share this video on all of the platforms, including Rumble. It's going to be on YouTube. You can wait if you're having difficulty. Come back at it after. We are video recording it. So if you don't get it and for any reason it's unavailable, WhatsApp me on 682-2110. I'll send it to you. So SRAM Kisoon, I'm having difficulty reading this because I have a picture of a printout of a picture of a whiteboard. So this is what I'm reading. This is what I'm reading. It's written in this kind of crap or foot handwriting. At 15:49, SRAM Kisoon reported Andrew Paria stated additional divers were called up. 15:51, N. Backhoe, HSE, reported Andrew Backhoe, HSE, reported ambulance service on standby. 15:53, SRAM Kisoon reported Victor Paul Singh reported incident at and didn't finish. 16:10, Acting Sub Officer Sterling Dio arrived on site. 16:17, HSE coordinator instructed HSE personnel to switch to offshore number 2 channel. 16:25. 25 past 6. Security personnel informed via radio level 2 emergency. 16:48. S. Ramkisoon reported divers HR. I don't know what that means. At 17:45. And this is important. At 7:45, Colin Piper informed ICP 1 person rescued. 2 hours. 16:25 is 4:25. So 17:45 is 5:45. Thank you, my friend, for that. 17:45 is 5:45. At 5:45, Colin Piper informed ICP 1 person rescued. So S. Ramkisoon, who said that the chances of survival are slim, at 15:45, 2 hours later, 1 person reported rescued. That person is now Boudram. And Boudram told Ramuta, the diving assistant who helped Kerban pull him out, he told Kerban, your father behind me, your father helped me out the pipe. Go back for your father. That's what the Kerban family heard from Boudram. Boudram stands by that he got out of that pipe. Now I want to know, you see, a 30-inch pipe, it's not a big pipe. You can't turn yourself about in a 30-inch pipe. So how you get sucked in is how you are in the pipe. If you get sucked into that pipe head first, you can't come back up 50 feet of riser foot first. And especially if you're injured. One of the divers, I think Ali, had all the bones in one of his arms broken. So he can't propel himself with both arms. And if you can't use your legs to propel you, and I don't know what inside the pipe is like, I'm assuming it's smooth. I doubt it's corrugated in any way. So I'm assuming it is smooth and it's covered in oil. So for you to get out of an environment full of liquid, because they're talking about air pockets, and there are air pockets for you to breathe, but you can't carry the air pocket with you. And if the air pocket, you have to remember this, I want you to hear this. The riser out of the water is a 5-story building. You have to climb a 5-story building out of that pipe. And you have to breathe. So it is not an easy task. You can't have on your tank. So somebody holding tank between 2 divers is how Boudram come out. Kerban help him out. You breathe now, I breathe after. We can't talk, we both of us in water and oil. This is serious, serious thing. This is basic physics. You're in an air pocket before you move off. But from the time you move off, you have to hold your breath or breathe from a tank. Coming out of that riser, coming up out of that riser is a Herculean task. You have to climb out of a 5-story building. You have to scale an oily 5-story building. And imagine how difficult that must be if inside the pipe smooth and oily. Imagine how difficult. You have to have sheer muscle strength, because you're not just climbing. You have to press and wedge. And you have to press and wedge all your extremities to be able to move one at a time and to be able to advance, however slowly. If you went in head first, you had to go the other way. You had to come out, you had to go 1,200 feet and come out on the other berth, because you can't scale and you can't turn around. And you can't scale a 5-story building upside down. It's impossible. It's impossible. But when Boudram said, now, today, and all the media running with these people who are alive for 39 hours. We didn't need 39 hours. We needed an immediate rescue response within 12 hours. In fact, the coroner or the pathologist said, estimated time of death, give or take 12 hours. The first 12 hours was the magic window of time. And I'm going to call somebody to talk to him now, but I just want to clear the air on these things. He's going to give you some more information when I call him. He's going to explain more, because this is what he knows. But the family was fighting to go back. And that's when they called me. They were fighting to go back for their father. They knew that at least he was alive. Boudram came out and said, Kerban, alive. He helped me out the pipe. They were supposed to tie something to a diver and send him down in that pipe till he encounter feet or arms and pull. You all pull me, I hold in and pull in. Let's go. But I know for certain that Esram Kisoon, who said, chances of survival are slim based on no information, because he has no facts. He has no reports. He has no camera. He has nothing but his own gut instinct. And when he said that, 2 hours later, somebody crawled out the pipe. Esram Kisoon was the first person to condemn these people to death. Piper and the crew at management and the board are liable. Now, I said today at the press conference that let them do their commission of inquiry. It's done too late right now. And yeah, it'll take 5 years. No problem. But let it take 5 years and come out as a report and bounce up a fresh government that is willing to take action on the report. I had to say to General Ramdeen today, I am tired of Trinidadians saying a commission of inquiry is a useless thing. It is not. If a commission of inquiry generates a report that reaches the Director of Public Prosecution's desk and he does nothing, it is the DPP that is a useless thing, not the report. Dynamite explodes, but you have to light the fuse. So if it reaches, if all commissions of inquiry that have ever been done, and they've all been duly done by well-respected jurists from around the world, not just here, you can't blame them. You can't blame. I remember I keep saying this all the time. There was an episode of Dead Like Me where the fella told the cook, he said, let me tell you something, I eat eggs every day. I eat boiled eggs, fried eggs, sunny side eggs, eggs Benedict. I eat all kind of eggs. I can't eat these eggs. So tell me who you think I should blame, the hen or the cook? In this scenario, and I told General Ramdeen today, do not castigate a commission of inquiry. A commission of inquiry is a tool. Its job is to deliver a report. And every commission of inquiry ever commissioned in this country have delivered reports. But governments, parliaments, and the Director of Public Prosecutions have failed to act for many different reasons in this country. But don't ever blame a commission of inquiry. A commission of inquiry is functional as a tool. And if you get the right jurists, if you get the right judges who have more respect for their legacy and their integrity and their name, so they're not delivering nonsense for Rowley, that commission of inquiry, because I said to them today, 2 crimes took place here. 2 crimes. The first crime is the criminal negligence in how this project was handled. And there is nothing that you could do to change what was already done. There has to be a reporting structure, and even if you tear up all the paper, there were people, there were payments, there were vouchers. You could audit Paria and from an audit find out what took place that weekend. Forensic accounting does that. Forensic accounting paints a picture based on the flow of numbers. So there's no easy way to hide this. Those shit snakes could hide from each other. Rowley and Newman George and Piper and them could play that bullshit game, and they could play that bullshit game in Trinidad because there is nobody calling them out. Remember, to the media, voice, concert, and nobody wearing masks and everybody whining and everybody bouncy was the story. While 4 men trapped in a pipe. Remember that? Remember in Trinidad and Tobago, the acting deputy commissioner of police, whatever he is, said that an investigation is underway. But that's all he said. We don't know. We knew when they went in Paula Gopi's school, son, to house and take all his information. We know when they want you to have information. In this scenario, Mr. Jacob, you had an obligation to tell the nation that you went to Paria and that you sent divers and that you have information. You did nothing. 2 crimes were committed. 1, the first crime that was committed started when somebody said, we are going to change the riser cap on this berth, on this 1,200 feet of pipe. We're going to change one of the riser caps. That project began the moment it was conceptualized. And then somebody had to become, or somebodies had to become, for all intents and purposes, the project manager who is responsible for seeing this through. And when you are a project manager in industry, in an environment where wrong actions could result in death, you see in the airport, you see the maintenance of the airplanes. Trinidad could be a shithole of epic proportions. And I tell people all the time, nothing works in Trinidad. You know, tell you how it works? The system to maintain the planes at Piarco. Because if you screw up, people die. Planes fall out the sky. That is the net result of failure at a level when moving parts and human beings interact. And oil and fuel at high pressure discharging from one vessel to another is a seriously dangerous environment. If any of you have ever seen this, what emergencies, what accidents in the oil industry look like, you'll understand what I'm trying to tell you. Somebody told me that our LNG vessels that we allow to sail out of Trinidad and sail back into Trinidad normal without Coast Guard vessels is the greatest act of recklessness he has ever seen, without even a Coast Guard vessel or some security apparatus, because that is a motoring bomb. Gas under pressure is volatile. Can't argue that sentence. I don't want to go too far down this road. But the point I'm trying to make to you is this. It is an active working environment. It is underwater. There are moving parts, ships coming and going. There's stuff happening. And you are going to interrupt an integral part of the system to change a part. So when you are going to interrupt an integral part of a system to change a part, there must be notifications to all of the people. If you are in a branch of KFC and you're going to take out one of the pressure cooker deep fryers to change something, not only will you put a sign saying do not use, which is what lock off, tag off, lock out, tag out, I was told means, that there's an actual physical tag that says do not use. But besides that, out of an abundance of caution, to make assurance double sure, you call everybody who might have reason to interfere with that deep fat fryer and tell them, for the duration of the repair, don't use it. And if you can't unplug it, an electrician might come and switch off the breaker. Again, to make assurance sure. And the project manager, they could say there was an accident and somebody turned on and it wasn't in use and it blew up and it damaged the store. And they go through all the steps to see how did this happen? Because using a deep fat fryer in a high pressure, in KFC, their fryers are pressure cooker fryers. That was Colonel Sanders' secret recipe. Forget the herbs and spices. His thing was that he was going to pressure fry. And he burned down plenty buildings working out that recipe because that was his big idea. And it does work. That's why KFC chicken is softer than other people's chicken. And that's the whole secret. But I'm using that as an example because there are a lot of people working in that environment. And if something has to be taken out in the system or something becomes hazardous or dangerous, everybody who's still working in that space needs to be aware. Because if you're not, a tanker truck went to Royal Palm Plaza to give gas to El Pecos and blew up stores and killed somebody. Killed him. A fellow named Suping Chow, an accountant. Because some things didn't happen. What I was told, in fact, I think that's still an active investigation, so I don't want to tell you, but errors might have taken place. And we have to be aware that in this particular environment, for that delta P or whatever it is they call it, subsea vortex and all this bacchanal, all kind of names, but it didn't occur in a natural vacuum. It wasn't nature, it wasn't a tsunami, it wasn't a sudden hurricane. Somebody did something that caused a reversal of pressure so significant, it sucked everything from the hyperbaric chamber straight into the pipe system. Tanks, man, it emptied the place, it turned it into a vacuum and sucked everybody in. That's what happened. Listen to Boudram's testimony. It's on video. You'll hear him describe that. Whatever that was, somebody did something. And if that person ignored memos, moved a lockout, tag out, and turned on something, that person, that's your first arrest. That's your first charge. Criminal charge, manslaughter. If you didn't know, manslaughter. If you knew and you did it, murder. But if that person flipped on a switch that should not have been live, and he should not have had access to it, and he should have known to not flip those switches, and nobody told him, then the project manager had to get charged. You see where this goes? And if none of those people exist in the food chain, if Colin Piper, of his own accord, gave a contract to LMCS and tell them, go and change that riser cap there for me on Friday, and nothing else was done, nobody else was notified, no systems put in place to protect that job and the workers, arrest and charge Piper. he is the one guilty of the deaths of those people. That's the first crime. The second, more heinous crime, is the crime everybody is aware of. Once the accident happened, these shithounds, these charlatans, these shit snakes, these canal conks, these maggot-filled latrine rats that run in Paria, that have no idea what they're doing, had no idea how to respond. According to this whiteboard in Paria, a man run back and tell him, hey, the camera ain't working and I ain't seeing nobody in the chamber. That was the sum total of the backup and rescue system for these guys working at LMCS. Now, it's easy to throw LMCS under the bus, but LMCS is a subcontractor, and any developer and anybody in any industry could tell you, it don't matter if the people working for you or if they are a subcontractor, it doesn't matter. The work belongs to you. That food chain is yours. It's in your environment. It is covered by your insurance. It is your responsibility. According to the law, you can hire a carpenter to put up blocks. And when the blocks fall and kill people, you say, well, I taught the carpenter. It don't work so. It can't be with taught, because you are functioning in an environment where when mistakes are made, people die. And I want to bring in this person to talk about this, because the second crime that took place was the failure of Paria to know what to do in an environment where that accident occurred. They had no idea what to do. Michael, how are you, my brother?
Not too bad.
How you and the family making out?
Come again?
Say, how you and the family making out?
I'm keeping strong. Right now, your family is watching you on live right now.
I want to ask you to speak up a little bit for me, please. Michael, I just want
to know
much better. And I want to ask you just this one question, and in your words, I asking you one question tonight. And you can talk as long as you want after that. But the question I want to ask you, because you are an experienced diver, and you do this for a living, and you were the person who literally took Boudram out the pipe, and you knew that your father was behind him. And I'm sorry for talking to you about this again. I'm sorry for being the person that bring you back into the public space to talk to you about this again. But after today's revelation, I want to ask you, do you think that the people responsible at Paria knew what they were doing?
No, not at all. Everybody was cool as when I reached on site.
They were taking orders from Piper.
That's correct. That's what when I was in work, that's what one of the guys said on site.
And Piper
didn't want us to get him back in the pipeline and rescue the guys.
When you came, because when Piper wrote on the Paria whiteboard, one person rescued, nothing else was written on that board after that.
Yes. Nothing else. Yes.
So it looks like Boudram's survival panicked them. Because early in the game, Ramkissoon went on record as saying the diver's survival chances are slim. It was you pulling Budram out that pipe.
Yeah.
Budram surviving and you pulling Budram out that pipe damage that narrative.
Yeah, they didn't want no survivors at all. They didn't want nobody to get in to rescue no one. They didn't want any survivors.
I was there with you and your family, and I watched the amount of things you all tried to get into that water, just to get into that pipe to mount that rescue. I watched you all frustrate yourself time and time again. Do you think?
I just want to know why these guys still moving and working as normal. All these men who are accountable for. Why they're still in Trinidad, so are not behind bars. And nobody is answering to that. Nobody has nothing to say. Nobody's saying nothing.
Because this cover-up has reached as high as the Prime Minister's office. And today, one of the newspapers said that the head of this Commission of Inquiry is expecting in Trinidad soon. And I asked if he's swimming here. 35 days have passed. And then they say he's expected here on the 18th of April. They're not treating this with the sense of urgency it deserves.
Not at all.
They didn't secure the crime scene or the accident scene. 13 days before OSHA even admitted that they were alive, that they were a functional organization. And it took 13 days before OSHA sent instructions to both LMCS and Paria. Trinidad and Tobago failed your family and the other 3 families who lost people in this tragedy. Trinidad and Tobago failed. And the Prime Minister, who is using this to score political points, because I can't think of another explanation as to why everybody would be dragging their foot. I can't think of a reason why the same management that failed would still be in charge of Paria. I can't think of a reason why the board that allowed all that to take place would still be the board. I can't understand any of those things.
I don't even understand it myself. This is a total disaster in everything, and everybody needs to hear what's going on here. And speak the truth and not about the truth here. And the autopsy shows that everybody was alive until they flushed them.
How's your family doing?
We're holding on with the grace of God.
Has anybody reached out to your family yet with any kind of trauma counseling and anything like that?
No, nobody.
Nobody at all?
Nobody, yeah.
Hi, Michael. When this show is done, I'm going to call you back and talk to you about some stuff, okay? You have anything you would like to say before you go?
Well, you're saying everything what I would like to say. So, you could continue, and I'll continue listening.
Thank you for taking my call, my friend.
Okay. Take care.
I want to ask Trinidad and Tobago tonight for this. I want to get some trauma counselors on board for these families. I want to speak to them. You all know that I am friendly with one of the best trauma counselors in the country, and I want to talk to her because I was assuming by now that the government would have done something to assist in this regard. If you would like to assist, whether you are local or international, if you would like to assist financially with that, reach out to Felicia Holder, 769-4590. Saturday morning, I spoke to a friend of mine that I grew up with, and he is a specialist for job sites. So even before the Prime Minister spoke, because when they did the committee, when they said they was going to do a committee and they announced Tia or Taya from Massey and all these people, I said, bullshit. You don't need no committee. You need a proper investigative body who trained in this type of industry to come and follow the steps that were taken right up to the accident and all of the steps that were taken after the accident, and you would see all who are responsible and all who failed. And then you could begin to prosecute. You would have information. They would fill the gaps. They will give you a roadmap. They would say, and this is the information that we need. They will say that from the moment the job was conceptualized, these people had to be put in place. These things had to be done. And they would identify by the work that was done where or if anybody was employed or appointed in those positions. Once the accident took place, and I'm calling it an accident, I should call it an incident, I should call it an event, but it's a tragedy to the families that are listening here tonight. It's a tragedy of epic proportions. And I want you to think of somebody that you love. I want you to think that somebody that you love with your whole heart, you die for. And then I want you to think of that person trapped somewhere at risk of dying. And not only are the people who are responsible not trying to get a rescue, you who are trained to do this, they are blocking you with guns, stopping you from rescue. And if you go back and look at my videos of that weekend, I use one word over and over: insane. That it was all insane. And there was a point in time, Michael Kerbon's younger brother came to me and asked me, he said, what would happen if I just disregarded them and went ahead to mount a rescue? And I couldn't believe that I had to tell him they could shoot you. And the insanity of thinking that the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard could have shot a citizen, the son of somebody trapped in a pipe, trying to rescue his father and his friends, co-workers. The insanity of all of this. Of Piper saying in his press conference that he was informed by the Coast Guard. Nobody from the Coast Guard has verified Piper's take on this, because they could be prosecuted too. Whoever was in charge of that boat that visited the scene, when nobody went into the water to investigate what was going on, they couldn't give information to Piper. Worse, none of the Coast Guard divers are commercial divers. At best, they trained as rescue divers. None are commercial divers. It's a different thing. It's a completely different thing. But the fact that the Coast Guard responded to an emergency and they didn't even have apparatus to go in the water is insane. And that Piper is saying that that Coast Guard who never got their feet wet told him that there was no chance of survival is insane. That all those hours passed and nothing was attempted is insane. There was a foreign crew from a boat, I think they called Subsea, that wanted to try, and they were blocked. People were offering. You couldn't get through to Paria. The only thing the people got was a nonsense stunt from Stuart Young to come and lie to them. Beat his chest and say he flew in personally. I've come all this way to bullshit you myself. Because that's what he did. He came to bullshit them. He came to say we'll remove every obstacle. And then left them in the bus shed. Stuart Young is the king of charlatans. Any fool, except that fool, would know the first step is, let us put you all in a place where you're comfortable so you don't have that to worry about. Where there are bathroom facilities, where you could get some warm hot meals, and if you want to stay somewhere where you can lie down comfortably. Nothing was done. Stuart Young flew in, bullshit the people and flew out. Waste of freaking time. Waste of time. Wasted the people's time. And then, thankfully, people who were in there filmed him and took voice recordings. So he couldn't lie and say he said something other than what they said. He came to try to do a press conference to talk bullshit, not knowing that I had his voice recordings and the bullshit he and them talk. We totally dismissed his nonsense with his pipeline graph. Now you can't throw the word murder around, manslaughter around, because those are legal terms. But the failure of Paria and the government to mount a rescue killed these people. Now I'm not saying that they don't have some slim chance that in the beginning that whole experience could have killed all five. I'm not saying no. And that if you have to make a judgment call and you're unqualified, you're a political appointee, you're just there because you just play golf with Rowley, so you ain't know nothing about diving and pipe and all that shit, you just join a salary. And somebody who say they qualify tell you there's no chance then people survive. And then the Coast Guard said, nah, none at all. Then I could understand in your stupidity and your lack of any information, you make that judgment call. But then, on your whiteboard, somebody said, somebody crawled out, somebody was rescued. That person who was rescued, interview him right away. Let's find out what's going on. How did he get out? Let's get the rest out. Nothing. Nothing. Keith Rowley and the PNM have thrown every distraction from opening back the country. You find suddenly, magically, I mean, there's so much going on, but you don't find it's amazing. It's a miracle that all of a sudden, all the variants stop. Abba, gamma, mama, wama, baba, jabba, baba, all come in, remember? Sky falling, beds running out, people dying in the street. All you remember? Mascara girl, oh God, they got dead. All you remember? Thierry, Jackass the Alsing. All you remember? Every Saturday, the sky falling, you remember? All of a sudden, no more variants. Somebody touch my soul. Somebody touch my soul. The best thing to happen to that jackass brigade is Will Smith slap Chris Rock. Get him a break, because somebody else distracting the masses. But they throw everything. The man had to fire Faris. Everything that he could think of. Put on RuPaul suit and go and sing for the Baptists. It's PNM make Baptist people life hard. But it's Trinidad. In Trinidad, we just forget who kick you in your face, cuff you in your head, piss on your mother corpse. Somebody touch my soul. Rowley sat down there for 31 years while the PNM make a shit of the Shouter Baptist community. Somebody touch my caca hole. And Rowley. And that's why I wanted to sing. Because you come there to stunt for them. People say that was your wife drapes until they find the RuPaul in the suit. And you come to make an ass of yourself. Why? Why did you have to come and make an ass of yourself? Because we know only by your inaction kill those 4 men. And we will hang that on you, around your neck, like the sword of Damocles, like the rhyme of the mariner, what was the bird, the albatross, that they hung around your neck, that you will walk around with for life. Your bad luck, you will carry your bad luck with you wherever you go. You will never escape. Nagasa, Henry, Ali, Kurban, you will never escape them. You will never, your incompetence as a prime minister, because it's a shit show. In Trinidad, you get, yeah, what, avocado season, they ripen, nice. Because that's the only emergencies you get in Trinidad. 90% of police flipping on siren is price mart closing and you had to get the case of chubby or take the wife and drop the children in school. We know that ambulances turn on siren just to get past traffic light. We know this is Trinidad. We have no emergency. Or they're driving around parting traffic like all important because nobody have all it to study, but all they just don't want to sit down in traffic. They have nothing you have to do with your life or your time. BP, Amoco, royalties run this country. Your job is just to sit down and find out how to get kickback from it. You, Prime Minister Rowley, the buck stops with you. When your anal repository, Stuart Young, found himself there to lie to those people, he was lying on your behalf, Keith Rowley. You sent Stuart Young to lie to the families. You told Stuart Young it is okay to leave your golfing buddies and the rest of the shithounds and Paria who didn't know what they was doing that resulted those 4 men dying. All of the tears of those families should fall on you and your entire line for all eternity, Keith Rowley. Because to be the Prime Minister is not to be a posing, stunting jackass. To be the Prime Minister is to be responsible for the operation of the nation state of Trinidad and Tobago. ODPM, National Security, Ministry of Energy, all 3 of them came under you. Fire Service, Police Service come under you. Every one of those things. You, if you were a Prime Minister, what's your salt? If you was a Mia Motley, or what's his name, Irfat, I don't know his name, then they would have called, you could actually see me now in command center in Paria. I'm in charge. I am the Prime Minister. The buck stops with me, those people coming out that pipe, one way or the other. But nothing. In fact, you and your partner was golfing Carnival weekend, while those people were stuck in the pipe. And the nation state of Trinidad needs to shake itself awake and to see that regardless of what you sell yourself as, you are nobody's leader. You are nobody's Prime Minister. You are barely competent to be walking upright. All of the stunts and all of the things that you threw at it today, one little whiteboard brought us back. And we will go back deep into the issue of these divers. And I know, and I want the lawyers to hear me say this, everything that we had to say, we are on record having said Sunday night. That press conference was so hot when we were done. Listen to me, there were touts from law firms in the car park trying to give. I have cards. Make sure they call me. Touts from law firms. I win that whole case in that press conference with Michael Kerban. The rest now is to dot I's and cross T's. Of course, in Trinidad and Tobago, going to court is not so much about justice and right and wrong. It's who could dance best. It's who could dance best, who connected more, who have more silk, who have more years, who in the right club. It's that. Make no mistake, everything in Trinidad is the same, Nothing works as it rightfully should. If this country was ever about justice, you wouldn't have little people stuck in the jail for decades longer than they could be or should be if they had pleaded guilty, or if they had been properly convicted or prosecuted, but they're just there in abeyance, locked in a cage. If this was a real country and we were about justice, white-collar criminals, not one has ever been brought to justice. This is a country that has shipped billions with a B, dollars of cocaine around the world. We don't grow cocaine here, but we've shipped it around the world. And not one drug trafficker of note has been brought to justice. In fact, a drug mule with a stomach full of cocaine pellets went to a hospital in the East and had a surgery so that the cocaine pellets could be taken out and handed back to the drug mule so they could leave. If Trinidad was ever about justice, those things couldn't happen. If Trinidad was ever about justice, a man with 70 charges wouldn't have been walking around upright and free to go and take the life of Andrea Barrett. If Trinidad was ever about justice, we could be. If we wanted to be, we can have the right people in the right positions. We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, we owe the families of Nagasa, Henry, Ali, and Kerban. We owe them for voting shithounds into office, who appoint shithounds to high state office who don't know what they're doing. We have a Minister of Finance that destroyed the economy. We have a Minister of Health that gave us the highest deaths per million from COVID in the world. We have a Minister of National Security who doesn't know if it's dark or light out, even if he has the switch in his hand. He couldn't tell you what is right or wrong, and will make a mockery of himself and the nation every time he speaks. We have a Minister of Communication who don't know how to communicate. We have a minister, we actually had a cabinet reshuffle where, were you the Minister of Camille? You. We need a distraction. Penelope, come Benny, or the exchange. It doesn't matter. It's a shit show. It doesn't matter. Somebody said that Camille Robinson Reggie said, when we came into office, the IDB offered us a loan, and if we didn't take it, it would have gone. We'd have lose out. It's a loan. We still have to pay it back. You don't lose. They don't lose. It's us that lose. Trinidad and Tobago. We owe the families. We owe the families to never forget. We owe the families to light up Facebook from tonight and say we want justice. 35 days later, that shit show, that circus that is your government, has not yet created a commission of inquiry. That shit show, that bunch of charlatans, that limping, hopping bunch of fools, don't even know who going to do the investigation. They don't care. And I only hope and anything that I could do to help Prakash Ramadan, Gerald Ramdeen, and any of the other lawyers, sue them stupid. And I hope that they could use every legal angle that they could. How I wish those 4 families end up owning Paria in a real world. But this is Trinidad. And in Trinidad, a judge might say, well, I had to pull out the book and calculate what a diver life worth. How old he was? That's Trinidad, you know. There's a book. That if you're a carpenter and you lose your arm, and as a carpenter you're worth $3,000 a month, and you lose your arm, how much working years you think he had left? He was 40 and he could have worked till 60, 20 years at $3,000 a month, calculate that, that is how much you get as your settlement. I keep telling you all, this is how all of it works. Trinidad needs a redo, a reboot, a start over. What happened when the Queen said, hey, we done with all that, on August 31st, 1962, was to hand Trinidad to an ass, Eric Williams, who knew nothing and was blessed by an oil boom so he could stunt and thief. That's all they did, stunt and thief. For the first 8 years of PNM in power in Trinidad, they did nothing, changed nothing, fixed nothing, kept no promises. And then oil money, why Manley was able to say oil money passed through this country like a dose of salt. And then all of a sudden, we stopped helping Jamaica to prove a point. They wanted to be sugar daddy, big pimpin. Eric wanted to pull out. He would. What did it, Guyana? People talking about Guyana, oh, we 500 million. We lent Guyana $100 million. And we was tracking interest. And Guyana was a suffering catch-ass country. And karma going to make Guyana that we bad talk chicken curry. All they talk all this shit for years. All they better learn how to say chicken curry. Because half of Trinidad don't looking to find a way to go and get a foothold in Guyana. Because that is the country of the future. Trinidad is at best, under the PNM especially, a cautionary tale. What not to do if you're a country. A proper government could turn Trinidad around. But the days of king oil and gas in Trinidad, that gone. So Rowley and them, somebody touch my soul, bullshit in the savannah, wasting time. Going to hold hand and pray for high oil prices. The same jackass that said they went to the savannah to pray for high oil prices, when high oil prices come say, well, let me tell you, high oil prices is not a blessing because the gas subsidy will kill me. So what it is you're telling your followers, boy? What it is you're really telling your followers? Today it good, tomorrow it bad. It's just when you talk, however you feel, that is how the country go run. And again, I'm just asking you all, seriously, you're not fed up? What will it take for you, to the poor people in the PNM communities? All you had a little chance when oil money was flowing. I want to tell you something. There are no money for oil here now. These people don't know how to get to 2025, you know. They don't know how to get there. They are going to kill the goose that laid the golden egg. They're going to kill the middle class. They are going to punish taxpayers for voting PNM. They're going to make life blistering hard. This ain't green gopher season. This is dry coconut season. This is a time when they're telling you and they're trying to break it to you softly. I want to tell you again. The silos in national flour mills selling you flour based on December delivery prices. What Romano and them tell all you yet, and I'm telling you this, is that the price of flour has already increased, and that the flour, that the next shipment of flour that comes to Trinidad and Tobago, see they tell you that they eat away the profits, the whole of national flour mills. Trinidadians, 1.4 million people, everybody eat flour at least twice a day, but national flour mills make $1 million profit. That means next year, National Flour Mill's in trouble. And I don't know who's the new Minister of Agriculture. And I have not heard anybody convene a national emergency food campaign. Nothing. The High Commissioner from Jamaica repeated what I have said, that we should be engaging in food production, farming as our number one. Right now, food and water. You need to survive. We're in survival mode. If we don't, we will be begging, cap in hand. We, the people of Trinidad, when these charlatans who thief out all our money, jump on a plane and go, you and your children will be paying the consequences of PNM. Right now in Holland, they're rationing flour. Right now. Google it. Right now. Trinidad cannot continue this way. We are facing a massive food shortage coming. We are facing hyperinflation coming. And Colm Imbert and his friends are going to suck the Heritage and Stabilization Fund dry. And that will probably get us through 1 year. And they'll probably use it for an election year. But after that, Trinidad in trouble. IMF. Here we come. All of you, hear my voice. You see Will Smith slapping Chris Rock? I know your business. Your business is y'all know water, the selling water, the thieving out TSTT. They've made promises to people like the ex-Caroni workers. Frank them is Indian, we don't care about them, it's not Indian time now. Cool. But they make promises to TSTT workers. You can't say freak them because the majority of them black. And them since 2018 walking around with a piece of paper waiting for their visa. But forget that. What about all the poor old people who now cross 60 trying to get their pension? The government have no money to pay them their pension. So they have National Insurance Board making an ass of the employees and the old people. Go and get that. Find this. Give me proof of life. Give me proof of death. You know what is the bullshit of that? In Trinidad and Tobago, there's a Ministry of Legal Affairs. And for everything else it does, it has one job really. Two things. Registrar of births, Registrar of deaths. And those two things bookend a database of living Trinbagonians. And if a death certificate doesn't exist, you jackass, the person is alive. I mean, we could fail to write a death certificate. I'm telling you, no, it's Trinidad. But stop sending old people to prove that they're alive. Plenty of these people in wheelchair, they're blind, they can't walk. You're brutalizing and bullying people at the end stages of their life for the little pittance that we get at the end of the road for being the third wealthiest nation in the Western world. We have $500 US a month. $500 US a month. That's the pension. That is the joke of a pension in Trinidad. And you work out for me. If you were getting $3,000 a month to live, forget having to buy high-price medication. Forget that. Let's say you're perfectly healthy in your 60s. How you paying a rent, lights, food, water with $3,000? How? How you doing that? And those people, you're robbing them because you don't have money to pay them. So you're sending them for document after document. And every time they come with the pile of documents you send them for, You send them for one last thing until you tell them, well, the time for this first document, it can't be more than 3 months old, and this one is 4 months old, so you have to start over the process. That's what they're doing, the old people, to frustrate them so that they don't come back to you. And we need a lawyer to bring an action against the National Insurance Board and the Minister of Finance on behalf of the elders. We need a lawyer for that. And yeah, that will take 10 years because it's Trinidad. It's not really a country that works. I'm saying this to you, not to depress you, not to frustrate you, not to make you throw your hands in the air, but to energize you, to galvanize you, to say, nah, this is unacceptable. I can refuse to accept that. We must change. Because the moment that happens, and the moment the majority of us say, that's it, then we can fix it. And not a day sooner. We need to be able to legally, lawfully, rightfully, democratically change government to a government that will actually function on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago and fix the things that matter. Grow food, save, capture water, fix the education system. Again, I had to apologize to the children doing SEA in a rigged system where, for some reason, the demographics of Trinidad don't apply in high and low things. You notice that? Everybody walk around, hold my corner, drink water and mind my business. That's bullshit. That's pure bullshit. If anything, all of us together have to mind our collective business. Not Will and Jada and Chris. We know, my newsfeed full. People talk about if she have alopecia. I don't care. I don't care. That slap earned Chris Rock hundreds of millions of dollars before he even sued Will, and at some point a lawyer called him Will. And yeah, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm not telling you no. But your house on fire. Your house is on fire. And you studying Will Smith. Wake up now. Trinidad and Tobago, I would like to encourage all groups of people being poorly done by the elders, the TSTT workers. Organize yourselves. The firemen of Trinidad and Tobago, reach out to the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago. A fireman nearly lost his life in a reamer. You send Desan, the PRO, to talk shit for people and pretend it's nothing other than there's defective equipment and no equipment, and that's the choices the firemen have. But we paid $10 million fire trucks selling in Trinidad for $75 million. The people who supply the actual fire trucks reach out to me. I hear it from the horse's mouth from everybody. The people who supply us with the fire trucks reach out to me and tell us, this is what a built-up fire truck costs, fully equipped. What you all pay for it. It's like when you all buy boats for the Coast Guard. You all don't deal with the company that building the boats. There are 3 steps down for money to change hands. For that boat to increase in price tenfold so people can eat. The way forward to fix all of that is to turn our backs on the racist, tribal, divisive politics that fed the corruption machine for all these years and ruined Trinidad and Tobago. There is a progressive empowerment party. And if you had an ounce of self-preservation, you would do one of 2 things. Get out of Trinidad and Tobago before the fan meets the shit, or join the PEP. And it's as easy as visiting www.peptt.com/join. You can do that now, right now, and it's free. The Citizens Union that everybody turns to when they're in trouble, join en masse. Because if we have large numbers, and the bigger the numbers, the larger the numbers, is the more power we have. It is power that moves government. I want to tell you something. The LGBTQ community, none of the people, I see in Fox News hire Caitlyn Jenner. They don't want to hire Caitlyn Jenner. But they know that the LGBTQ community is very well organized and will go at them. sustained at them and target the advertisers, and the advertisers say, us, don't bring me in all that bullshit. Find somebody. That's how it works. And take an example from them. The LGBTQ people are so properly organized. It created a culture in America that they call cancel culture. It has nothing to do with political correctness. It has to do with political power. People understand their power and they organize themselves in groups. Black Lives Matter is a political pressure group. And that's what Trinidad needs. The Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago is a massive political pressure group. Come and sign up. Give us your voice so that we could speak in hundreds of thousands and make the government act on the will of the people. Yeah? That's about it for me tonight. So, until tomorrow, stay safe. Trinidad and Tobago.